Welcome back to the channel. My name is Lena and today I'm going to talk about how you can customize your budget to fit with what your life is really like. If cookie cutter budgets or budgeting philosophies are not working out for you, this video is for you. I'm going to show you how to customize your budget so that it works for you and your particular circumstances, and it still allows you to make financial progress without ignoring the realities of your life. Before we get started, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. And with that, let's get started. My first tip is to forget about those highly standardized budgets that you hear about. There's some budgets where they say, 50% of your take-home pay should be towards your living expenses, and then maybe your variable expenses are supposed to be 30%, and then 20% is supposed to be your savings. So everyone has a very particular idea about how much is going to fit in each category, and let me tell you, we do not fit in a cute category because our life circumstances are different. And I just hate feeling like a failure when I'm like, well, our living expenses are technically more than they should be, and this number is not exactly right. And it's just really hard to put yourself in a ideal box when you're dealing with a real life circumstance. These cookie cutter budgets and formulas can be a good way to get a general look to see how the balance of your expenses is going and if you might want to adjust, but don't stick to them 100%. This is how it's supposed to go, because it's so easy to feel like you failed at your budget because they don't fit into the exact percentages, or you're spending more than 25% of your income on your housing costs, or whatever rule you found online. Just know that it's just an idea and you get to ignore those and adjust them to your particular circumstances. They are really just there to help us put budgeting ideas in simple terms, and so we can also see what other people's budgets might look like in a general sort of overview way. But that's not specific to you and your particular life. If I'm consistently measuring myself against these contrived budget ideas, I feel like I've let myself down, I've failed at my budget, and that is not helpful for us at all, so I just forget about those. My next tip is to have big goals, but not ridiculous ones. I am not so good at this. I always come up with these ridiculous goals that don't really end up happening, and I forget that, the car breaks down and we have to buy clothes and we need to eat and stuff like that. So I need to work on this one for sure. So dream big, dream of new possibilities, but at the same time, plan for life. Plan that, you'll have medical expenses, or your car will break, or your kid will need new shoes, and those things are just gonna cost money, and there's kind of nothing we can do about it. But if our goals revolved around nothing ever going wrong, no one ever needing new shoes, and the car just magically working perfectly forever and never be needing to be fixed, it's not going to work out very well, and we're going to get really disappointed in ourselves because we didn't plan that things wouldn't always go perfectly. So when you're thinking about your big money goals, take a step back and say, what am I not accounting for? What things could happen that I am not accounting that those things will also cost money? And budget for the variations that happen in life as you're planning your big goals. This can really help you actually reach those big goals because you made them reasonable enough, and it can help you from giving up on your big goals because you planned that things were not always going to go perfectly. So let's say your ridiculous goal is to save $1,000 a month. You take your step back, you're looking at your life and you're thinking, things are probably gonna not work the way that I think they are. So let's make the big goal to save $700 a month. Then you can be super impressed with yourself if you do save $1,000 a month, but you will not be thrown off track if your car breaks down and it needs a $300 part. You've already allotted that might happen, and you can still reach your monthly goal of saving the $700 a month even though something broke. Okay, my next tip is when you're making your budget, you need to account for what your life is really like. So this kind of goes back to that first part about not following super stringent budgets and thinking that all those percentages or whatever numbers are just going to work out perfectly for how your life is working. So perhaps you read somewhere that you should only spend 25% of your income on your housing expenses, but perhaps you live in an extremely expensive place. So perhaps your rent eats up more of your budget than the ideal budget. Another scenario is that you want to have the smallest amount of food budget that you can. You really think that's an area where you can lock down and make it as tight as possible so that you can save the most amount of money. But you also have food allergies. I would be in that camp. So I need to account for the fact that it is more expensive to feed me, even if we are trying to budget as tightly as possible. It's just gonna be more expensive because I have a very limited diet, which means we have to buy more expensive food, and that's kind of a reality for a life. I am making sure that I'm not giving myself a hard time about spending more money on food, because I know the reason we are spending more money on food is because I have to eat more specialty foods to make my tummy happy, and then I also need to give myself a break when I'm watching YouTubers tell us about how they feed their ginormous family on $50 a week or something. I'm like, yeah, that can't happen over here. If you would like to learn more about how to save money in your food budget, even when you have a complicated diet, I will link that video up above and in the description if you want to check that out. So your budget is all about balance. So maybe our food budget needs to be bigger, but maybe we have really fuel efficient cars and our gas budget can be less than other people's. So this is about adjusting to realities of your life and accepting that and being okay with it, which is really hard for me. Another scenario is that maybe you have some health issues, and maybe part of the way that you like to manage that is with supplements or appointments that are not necessarily covered by your health insurance. So you're making your health budget bigger, your supplemental health budget. So for us, we pay for our health insurance. Then we also have a flexible category that is for health things that are not covered by insurance. So this means we're buying our vitamins and my supplements and other treatments that I need that are not paid for by insurance. So I have accepted the reality of the state of my health, and we are budgeting appropriately for that. And sometimes it's like $300 a month, which is super painful. You could see this ginormous extra health budget as a burden on our budget, and then we can't save as much money because of that. But at the same time, my quality of life would greatly diminish if we stopped doing those things. And this is just part of what it's like for me to be taking care of myself and feeling well. So my next tip is to aim for your personal record with your budget each month. So when my sister was running, she would often talk about her PR, and I was like, what is that? I don't even know what you're talking about. But it's your personal record. It's your personal best. It's the best that you can do. So this means I'm not competing against other people or other families about what my budget looks like. I'm competing against us. How can we do better? How can I make our budget fit our life better? How can I be as close as possible to not having any overages in any parts of my budget? Stuff like that. How can you be better than yourself? So this means I'm not comparing myself to my sister and looking at her $400 food budget and being like, I've got to get to $400. That's just where I have to be for me to be any good at budgeting at all. If I'm only looking for a personal record, I don't have to be thinking about that. I can be thinking about, okay, is this food budget going to be appropriate for us this month? Could I take it down $50? And this kind of ties back to the earlier point. So if I'm looking at someone else's food budget and I wish that that was my food budget, but I have health issues and I know that that's going to cost more money, I'm not attempting to get down to their food budget. If this all sounds good to you, but you're not exactly sure where to start with your budget at all or writing down any of this stuff, go ahead and watch my easy budget video. I'll link it up below and down in the description. That video also has a free template that you can use and just plug in your own numbers and start making your budget work for you and your life circumstances. How does your budget end up looking different than everybody else's because of your life circumstances? Let me know down in the comments. Give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye for now.